Hello everyone and welcome to our first virtual assembly of 2021 and our first assembly of this new spring term as well. Firstly, I hope you had a really good Christmas break and that you and your families are safe and well. I know it would have been a very different Christmas for all of us because of the COVID-19 rules that were already in place over the Christmas period, but I hope that it was restful. I hope that you had some good quality time with your families, and I hope that you've come out of that Christmas break in good health, that you're safe and that you're well. I'm really disappointed, of course, that I haven't been able to see you all this week or to welcome you back into school. We love having our students in school. We love the relationships that we have with you. We love helping you, supporting you with your lessons and your learning, but also knowing how much you like being here in terms of the social interaction with your friends as well. But clearly it's the right decision because of the COVID cases and death rate nationally. The government has introduced the full lockdown, and that full lockdown means that all students in all schools are now on remote learning until the February half term. I know that would have been really disappointing news for many of our families and for many of you as well, because lockdown is not easy. Having to be at home, not being able to see your friends, not being able to go out, not being able to do your sports or your hobbies at the weekends, all of that takes a toll on your mental health and on your well-being as well. And I want to say to all of our King Henry School families and students that we will do everything that we can to support you over the weeks ahead, so that as a community we can stay strong and stay united, that we can keep safe, but that we can make sure that we look out for each other and that we look after each other during this really difficult lockdown period. So I'm going to share my screen with you like I always do for my assemblies. It's just a short few slides today, but I wanted to have a quick assembly with all of you in the first couple of days of term. So as always, I hope you can see my screen. And as always, I've started with a question. And the question is, what does the quote below mean, or what could the quote below mean? And the quote's on a picture, and the picture, I believe, is a picture of the New York skyline. And the quote is, "It's always darkest before the dawn." It's always darkest before the dawn. And it's a quote that I was reminded of by a good friend of mine just before the Christmas break, actually, when here at King Henry we had some year groups out on self-isolation, we had some year groups still in, and it was a really difficult few days for all of us. And a friend of mine said to me, "It's always darkest before the dawn, remember that." So I'm not going to answer the question yet. I want you to reflect on it during this brief assembly, and we're going to come to it at the end of the assembly as well. But it's always darkest before the dawn. What could that mean? Okay, so where are we? So as I've just said, I just wanted to briefly run through where we are, but also what our initial response has been to remote learning and to the lockdown that we find ourselves in. So we are in a full national lockdown now. That was announced by the Prime Minister on Monday. It means for schools, the vast majority of our students will be on remote learning until February half term. There are a small number of students who are vulnerable students or the children of key workers who are coming into school for face-to-face supervision each day, but they're completing the same work that they would be completing at home, that you're completing as well. There are going to be some changes to the exams in the summer for students in year 13 and year 11 and any other students who are sitting exams. And I really send my deepest sympathies to every student in year 11 and 13. I want you to know that we are going to support you every step of the way. We don't know fully yet what the government are going to ask us to do in terms of giving you grades or getting you to sit additional assessments. We're not sure what that looks like yet, but as soon as we get any more detailed information, we will let you know, and we will keep you up to date at every stage. I would also say to students in year 11 and 13 to keep working really hard. It might be that the work that you are doing now in this remote learning period, or some future assessments that we still have to ask you to sit, would contribute towards a final grade. We don't know, but it's worth to staying engaged and keeping up with your studies to make sure that you have every chance of success, whatever the system looks like. And we will let you know as soon as we have any more information as well. I also want to say to all students, really, from a King Henry perspective, that we are urging you all to follow the rules of the national lockdown that the government has issued. We know how difficult that is, not seeing your friends, not seeing some extended family members, staying inside, apart from perhaps a bit of daily exercise, how difficult that is for us all, but how important it is for us all as well to make sure that we are keeping ourselves and others safe at all times, that we're looking out for each other, that we're looking after each other by following and observing the rules of the lockdown. You might have seen in the news as well, lots of information about vaccines as well. And again, we will continue to follow all of our news that we get as a school, as well as in the community. And we will continue to communicate with all of our families throughout this period of time. What's it been like here at King Henry School so far? Well, in the last 48 hours since the lockdown was announced, it's been a really busy couple of days. We are endeavouring to make sure that every student is supported with remote learning. We are increasing significantly the number of live and recorded lessons compared to what you would have experienced in the previous lockdown last year. We have introduced our daily virtual form times at 8:45 a.m. for everyone. We have organised food parcel for families in receipt of free school meals. We've opened our key worker vulnerable student provision, and we've also set up a COVID-19 testing site within the school, which is in our main hall, and you can see a picture there of the work that's gone into preparing that area so that any staff that are on school site still in this lockdown can get a COVID-19 test. And that's been a really significant job, and it's been really well implemented by our King Henry School staff. So a really busy but successful couple of days, making sure that we are set up for the half term ahead. And these are the expectations in terms of the provision that all students in our school will receive during remote learning. So you can see, depending on whether you're in Key Stage 3, that's years 7, 8 and 9, whether you're in years 10 or 11, that's Key Stage 4, or Key Stage 5 being our sixth form, that everyone has that live form tutor session at 8:45 each morning. That in Key Stage 3, that you have an English, Maths and Science live lesson once a week and a recorded lesson once a week. The other subjects will do a live or recorded lesson each week, and that additional weekly work will be uploaded to Teams per subject as well. You'll also have my virtual assemblies as head teacher, but also some head of house virtual assemblies and a 21C lesson too. And you can see that for Key Stage 4 and 5, it's a very similar situation, slightly higher levels of English, Maths and Science in Key Stage 4 as students prepare for those exams or qualifications in an alternative way. So that's the expectation, that's what staff are working towards, and that's why we've had so many live lessons already scheduled. And I hope that you've all found the start of remote learning straightforward this time around, and I hope that it's a useful period of time where you feel supported throughout the days and weeks ahead. There are some top tips for remote learning. There will be many more top tips, but these are just some of the initial ones that I want to remind all of our students of. Firstly, getting up by 8:45. It's really easy when you're remote learning from home to think, oh, I'll stay in bed, I'll log on later. Our expectation is that everyone is up and logged on to Teams by 8:45 for that morning tutor session. It's brilliant to be able to see your tutor. It's great to be able to see your friends, albeit on a screen. And then it also helps you to get sorted for the day, to be organised for the day, to know what your plan is for the day as well. So it is an expectation that every student is attending those online, and we are taking registers each morning at 8:45 in those tutor times too. It means you also get to complete our Right Here, Right Now, which is something, of course, we do in school every day as well, and that continues as normal. Second top tip, make sure that on Microsoft Teams, when you log into your account, make sure you know where the assignments tab is and where the calendar tab is, because under the assignments tab, you'll see any work that's been set by your teachers. And under the calendar tab, you'll see any live lessons that have been scheduled on your calendar as well. And you can join them at the appropriate time each day. Make sure that if you have any difficulties, you email your form tutor or your head of house. They will respond to you as quickly as possible, and they're there to help you. I know that many of our form tutors are making phone calls to students that have had difficulties so far, so you're not alone. Ask for help if you're having any difficulties at all, and we'll do our best to support you. We will also continue to share any new knowledge that we get during this period of time about additional ways to complete your work at home. So as an example, I only found out yesterday that you can use games consoles, so PlayStation and Xboxes. You can use PlayStation and Xboxes to access Microsoft Teams. So even if you can't use the laptop because someone else is using it, or you don't have one, or it's broken, if you've got a games console, that's another way that you can log on to Teams and that you can complete some work as well. If you haven't tried it out yet, try using your PlayStation or your Xbox for that. If there are any concerns that you have over the days ahead, there are a number of contact email addresses that I've put onto this slide for you as well. Safeguarding is our first priority, whether we're in school or out of school. It's the most important job that we do here, keeping you safe. And as I said earlier, lockdown is a difficult time. There might be anxieties that you have. There may be mental health difficulties that you encounter. If at any point you feel as if you're not safe or you're not sure about something, use our safeguarding@kinghenry.org.uk email address, and there are members of our safeguarding team here at school who are monitoring it and will respond to you and will do all they can to support you as well. So we are here to support you and to keep you safe, even if we're not here physically together. Our remote learning at kinghenry.org.uk is the email address that you can also send any technical difficulties to. So if you're not able to load your Microsoft Teams calendar to see when your live lessons are, for example, and you're not sure why, and you've tried stopping it and relaunching it and it still doesn't work, then email our remote learning at kinghenry.org.uk and members of staff will try and support you. And I said earlier that you can email your heads of houses at any time. If you're not sure what their email addresses are, all of our 5 houses, Lancaster, Stuart, York, Windsor and Hanover, have their own email addresses. So if you know that you're in Windsor House, you can email windsor@kinghenry.org.uk if you need to get in touch with your head of house. This PowerPoint will also go on to Teams, so you'll have access to this and the email addresses throughout the next few weeks. Okay, so that brings me then back to where I started and the quote that I put on the first slide, which is "It's always darkest before the dawn." What does this mean? Well, to me, this means, and I'm not sure it's scientifically right. I think the science teachers here might stand me corrected. I don't think scientifically it's always darkest before the dawn, but I think the purpose of this is that just before the dawn, there's no more moonlight and there's not yet sunlight. And so that's where this quote originates from, that moment just before the sun rises, but after the moonlight has gone. But symbolically, in terms of the moral of the quote, what does it really mean? Why am I sharing it with you today? Well, it suggests that however difficult something is right now, each step we take, each day we take, is a step towards the end of the pandemic. That things always seem at their worst just before they start to get better. So if you are struggling today or yesterday or this week because of this latest lockdown, and I think we all are struggling to an extent, then remember you're not alone. Remember that there is light ahead, that there is hope ahead, that we need to make sure that we keep studying, that we keep safe and that we keep positive. And please remember that as a school, we're not shut, we're not closed. We might not be together, but we are open and we're here to support you every step of the way. And hopefully, before too long, we'll be able to come back together and operate as a normal school, face to face, as we all want to do as normal. So look after yourselves, everyone. Keep working really hard. If you've got any concerns at all, get in touch with us. And I hope that through your live lessons, through your recorded lessons, through the other work that's been set, you feel supported with your studies. And I hope that through your form tutors and your virtual form times every day, you feel supported pastorally as well. And look out for each other, look after yourselves, and get in touch if you need anything at all. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.